There's an old hymn sung on Easter that goes like this. Christ is risen from the dead, trampling down death by death, and upon those in the tombs bestowing life. I love that song, especially after how challenging the last chapter was. Jesus beat death by death. That's why we celebrate the resurrection. But you know, Paul wrote that just as Christ was raised from the dead, we too walk in newness of life. The resurrection means something for us, for our lives here and now, and not just in the future. So here's the question: how can we die to sin and live to God? How can we rise above every temptation, doubt, and fear? How can we experience heaven while still very much on earth? The answer involves a resurrection of our own, what Augustine called the mystery of our own inner resurrection. Chapter 11 is about Jesus' resurrection from the dead and ascension into heaven. That's right, we're actually going to talk about heaven. Hallelujah. But with a typical early Christian twist. The chapter opens with a quote by Leo the Great: "Be heavenly, not only in hope, but also in conduct." Instead of talking about the quote like I usually do, I'd like to let Leo explain it in his own words. See, Leo was one of the greatest theologians of his day, but he was easily the greatest pastor. That's why there's a great after his name. His sermons are short, they're usually less than a 10-minute read, and they're the perfect starting point if you're interested in reading the church fathers. Be heavenly in hope, how does it go? Be heavenly not only in hope, but also in conduct is from one of those sermons. I'll start reading about 3/4 of the way through, which is where Leo is discussing, of all things, the Nicene Creed. Keep fixed in your mind what you say in the Creed. Believe the Son of God to be co-eternal with the Father, by whom all things were made, born also according to the flesh at the end of time. Believe him to have been in the body crucified, dead, raised up and lifted above the heights of heavenly powers, set on the Father's right hand, about to come in the same flesh in which he ascended, to judge the living and the dead. For this is what the apostle proclaims to all the faithful, saying, if you are risen with Christ, seek the things which are above, where Christ is sitting on the right hand of God. Set your mind on the things that are above, not on things that are upon the earth. For you are dead, and your life is hid with Christ in God. For when Christ, who is our life, shall appear, then shall you appear with him in glory. Relying, therefore, dearly beloved, on so great a promise, be heavenly, not only in hope, but also in conduct. And though our minds must at all times be set on holiness of mind and body, yet now stir yourselves to more active works, not only in the distributing of alms, but also in forgiving offenses and in being merciful to those accused of wrongdoing. You know, that's almost 1/4 of Leo's sermon, and it's like drinking from a fire hose. Did you notice what Leo said to do with the creed? Keep it fixed in your mind. In other words, don't forget it. Never stop thinking about the things we believe. Then Leo starts to go through some of those things, much like we do in the book. And when he gets to the resurrection and the ascension, he quotes a passage from Colossians. Listen to this. If you have been raised with Christ, seek the things that are above, where Christ is seated at the right hand of God. Set your minds on things that are above, not on things that are of the earth. See, believing in the resurrection and ascension means more than acknowledging they happened. It means acting like they happened. It means directing our focus and our priorities from earth to heaven. Leo lists 3 ways to do that: to give generously, to forgive others, and to show mercy. But it's not meant to be an exhaustive list. There are countless ways to be heavenly, not just in hope, but in conduct. In fact, every single decision we make gives us that opportunity. Every day we can rise to where Christ is by growing in the characteristics that he embodied in coming down to us. Or we can stay where we are. The choice is ours.